Ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap up the first round of this year's NFL draft. And as of no surprise, it delivered so much drama, so much action. We found out who the next studs of the league will be. Such a great Thursday night as we move into round two, three, etc. But how about the drama and excitement that day one built? There wasn't too much surprise with the number one overall pick, as mostly everyone expected quarterback Cam Ward out of Miami to go to the Tennessee Titans. They now have their quarterback of the future, and they are ready to go all out and build around Cam Ward. I'm excited to see what they can do throughout the rest of the draft to just continue to build around him. But once he got his name called, that was when the things started to get fun. We saw the Browns and the Jaguars make a trade, with the Jaguars trading their first round pick next year, their first round pick this year, the fifth overall pick, and their second round pick this year to trade up to number two overall with the Browns. They would select Travis Hunter, this stud two-way player out of Colorado. They now are building and going all out to surround Trevor Lawrence with weapons. We know that they got Brian Thomas last year in the first round, who had a tremendous season. Now they get Travis Hunter, who's going to be another excellent weapon on the outside. They go and get former Buccaneers offensive coordinator and Liam Cohen to now be the head coach of Duval. And now this Jaguars team is ready to roll, and they're ready to go all out for Trevor Lawrence. He officially has no more excuses anymore. This is T-Law's time, and I'm excited to see how they can compete in the AFC next year. Now we move along to the New York Giants at number three, and as of no surprise, they went with the best available in Abdul Carter at number three. This was the believed pick for a while now. There were some rumblings that, hey, maybe they go with a quarterback, maybe they go with Shedeur. We know that Brian Dable really liked Jackson Dart, and they would end up taking him later in the first round, like I predicted. If you guys are familiar with Caden's Corner, and if you guys really are consistent watchers, you would know that I put out a video before the draft that, hey, I think the Jackson Dart is going to be a New York Giant. And I don't think they're going to take him in the top three, but I think they'll trade back into the first round to go select him. And that's exactly what they did. The Giants absolutely killed the first round, in my opinion. And I really like what Brian Dable and Joe Shane did to try and really save their jobs as they go into this really scary season for them, with their seats being very, very hot. And I won't go pick by pick here just to save you guys time, and I'll kind of go through some of my biggest takeaways, some of the biggest winners, some of the biggest losers. First of all, one of the things that I'm the most surprised about is the fact that Shedeur Sanders was not taken in the first round of this year's draft. There was kind of some hype, some buzz that there would be three quarterbacks taken in the first round. Everybody knew that Cam Ward was the consensus number one overall pick. Everybody thought that Jackson Dart would be a day one guy, and everybody thought as well that Shedeur Sanders would be a day one guy. At one point, he was receiving number one overall hype, number two overall hype, and it kind of just went down the line. And now we're looking at day two right now, and he still hasn't been picked, which is very, very surprising as we head into the second round of the NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders still hasn't heard his name called, which is very, very wild. But for me, that was a massive surprise, because I thought Shedeur would either get taken by the Steelers, who were really, really excited about him. Mike Tomlin reportedly loved him. They had a long meeting, things went well, and they didn't end up taking him in the first round. Do they try and snag him in the second round, or do they have their eyes set on Aaron Rodgers or potentially another quarterback later in the draft? Did the New Orleans Saints try and make a move on Shedeur Sanders with this whole Derek Carr injury? We know that his status is up in the air for next year, and I didn't think personally that they would address the quarterback position in the top 10 of this year's draft. It just didn't seem like they did enough homework, because this Derek Carr injury happened so soon, considering when the draft's timing was. So I was pretty shocked that Shedeur did not get taken in the first round, but I'm curious to see when he'll ultimately go. Another guy that I was really shocked that didn't go in the first round was Will Johnson out of Michigan. He was pretty banged up last year, but he was a former All-American cornerback out of Michigan. He was an absolute stud in college. I thought maybe a potential landing spot for him would be the Minnesota Vikings, maybe the Green Bay Packers, two teams that both definitely could use a cornerback, but he is going to be be a stud day two pick. I really have my eye on him. But in terms of teams that absolutely killed it in this year's draft, there are a few squads that I think did such a great job. First of all, like I mentioned, I thought the Giants did a really good job. The second team that I'm looking at here is the Carolina Panthers. I thought the Panthers crushed it in this year's draft. They didn't overcomplicate it. They got their guy BY9, Bryce Young, a true weapon on the outside in Tetaroa McMillan. Last year, they traded back into the first round to get Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. That didn't necessarily work that well for Bryce, even though he really stepped it up in the second half of the year. They still have Adam Thielen, and now you have Dave Canales, the critically acclaimed quarterback guru who turned around Geno Smith's career, who turned around Baker Mayfield's career. This guy is known for turning quarterbacks around, and Bryce Young really stepped it up in the second half of the year. And now you kind of complete this wide receiver room with Tetaroa McMillan, a guy that is really similar to a Mike Evans style player. He can go up and really get those 50-50 balls. And you saw Dave Canales when he turned around Baker Mayfield had a wide receiver that was really similar to a Tetaroa McMillan, and his name is Mike Evans, one of the best receivers in the NFL. So I'm excited to see what the Panthers can do, but I absolutely love this pick from them. I thought another team that absolutely crushed it in this year's draft was the Green Bay Packers. I've been complaining, just like Bryce Young and the Panthers, I wanted Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers to have a true number one receiver for Jordan Love. And this really fell right into their lap. I thought Golden was going to go to the Dallas Cowboys at number 12, and he didn't ultimately go to them. He fell all the way to 23. And I'm super fired up for Jordan Love and for the Packers. I think they finally have this true number one receiver, and I think this is going to go a long way to helping them next year. I've always felt like Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback in the league, and it's time for them to fully build around him so that he can take that next step. I think this Packers team is capable of winning a Super Bowl, but they just need one or two pieces. So I really like this move from them here in the first round. Another move that I really liked was Ashton Genty being selected by the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he's an absolute stud, and you can't go wrong getting a guy that is literally untackleable. And they have Geno Smith now. They have Pete Carroll. They have Genty. Like, they have pieces that they're putting together, and I like the way that they're moving towards trying to compete in the AFC. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in year one. But at the end of the day, this Raiders team has got to start building, and Ashton Genty is a piece to the puzzle that allows you to get one step closer. Now we'll stay in this division in the AFC West. I think the Broncos made another splash move on the defensive side of the ball to really help out this squad. Jahdae Barron fell all the way to 20, and the Broncos continued to build this defense. If you remember, they got Talanoa Hufanga and they got Dre Greenlaw from the 49ers, two stud defensive players, already one of the best defenses in the entire league last year. They add those two pieces. Now they add Jahdae Barron, one of my favorite cornerback prospects and one of my favorite overall prospects in this year's draft. The Jim Thorpe Award winner, he is now a Denver Bronco, next to the defensive player of the year in Patrick Surtain. So I'm really excited about this Broncos defense, and the way I'm looking at this situation for Denver is it's like, okay, you have all these super explosive offenses. We know that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, all of these guys are going to terrorize the AFC for a long time. So what you do to counteract that is you go out and put together just a nasty defense. And that's exactly what they've done. This defense looks so freaking good. They've already added three amazing pieces that I can't wait to see next year. I just think this Broncos team is going to be unbelievable next year. Bo Nix is going to take another step. I'm excited to see how they kind of fill out this wide receiving core some more, but really, really good job here from the Broncos just to continue to add to this defensive roster. Another team that I thought that did a good job of adding a piece was the Chicago Bears. I really felt like this is going to be a huge year for Caleb Williams. Now that they've added Ben Johnson to be their head coach, just this offensive mastermind. They already have Caleb Williams, who's the number one overall pick. They still have DJ Moore. They still have Roma Dunze, who they drafted in the first round last year. Now they go out and get an amazing tight end in Colston Loveland out of Michigan, former All-American, just a tremendous player overall. Now this really this offensive core is looking so scary. Maybe they go out and get Travion Henderson to get a just a dominant running back. Like this offense is going to be so freaking fun to watch, and I cannot wait to see what they do next year. But just a really good job of just adding a piece. I think Colston Loveland is going to be a tremendous player for them. So congratulations to him on being drafted to the Chicago Bears. And a team that I felt didn't necessarily have a great first round was the Los Angeles Chargers. And I never thought I'd say that with Jim Harbaugh and how great of a coach he is and really everything he brings to the squad. Now, we know that they have Justin Herbert and they drafted Lad McConkey last year. And I felt like, okay, let's go get another receiver. You didn't add anybody huge in free agency outside of Mike Williams, but let's go get another receiver for Herbert because I just think that pushes this offense up to another gear if you do that. Now, instead, we know that they signed Najee Harris to a contract this offseason, former Steelers running back. They drafted Omarion Hampton, a running back out of North Carolina in the first round. I don't love drafting running backs in the first round unless you are Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, or Ashton Genty. Like you have to be just a generational running back if you're going to go there. And Omarion Hampton, this is nothing against him, but I just don't really see the vision here from Los Angeles taking him in the first round. I personally didn't love the pick. Let me know what you guys think as well. But, I didn't necessarily love this pick here from the Chargers kind of reaching on him. Another team that I was a little confused about this draft pick, and that is the Buccaneers. Now, I'm not exactly sure when Chris Godwin's going to come back. I'm not sure when he's going to be 100% healthy. Now, for the Buccaneers, we know that they have Mike Evans, they have Chris Godwin, and they have Jalen McMillan, three really solid receivers. Well, they went out and drafted Emeka Egbuka, another weapon on the outside, which can't hurt, but I just felt like there's better positional value available for this team, considering I was really high on Jalen McMillan and you already have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But maybe that's just a long-term play if Mike or Chris is going to be, potentially up for trade later on. But I know that Chris Godwin just re-signed that contract, and I'm not exactly sure how long Mike Evans has, but this was kind of a surprising pick for me, but I don't hate it. Just because I think Emeka Egbuka is just such a tremendous overall guy, an amazing character for that locker room. So I can't complain too much about it. And the only other thing that I was kind of up and down about in this year's first round draft was the Dallas Cowboys taking Tyler Booker in the first round, an offensive lineman. I just feel like they needed to go get another weapon. I really wanted to see them go get Matthew Golden or just at least a wide receiver. And maybe they, intend to do that in the second rounds and so on in the draft. But, I didn't love taking an offensive lineman here, especially a guard in the top 12 of the draft. I really felt that Matthew Golden would complement CeeDee Lamb well on the other side of him. So kind of a surprising pick there. But overall, I feel like day one of the draft absolutely delivered. We saw so many stunning things. The Giants trading back up to get Jackson Dart, the Browns trading up to go get Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders not even being taken in the first round. This was a great day in football, in the NFL. It is alive and well as always. And I'm excited for the rest of the draft, excited to see what's to come. And congratulations to everyone that was drafted. My name is Caden Kubler, and thank you guys for watching.